Hi, I'm Tiffany Guarnaccia. I'm the CEO and founder of Kite PR. We're an agile tech PR agency.
And I'm Anna Milicevic, the co-founder and principal of Sparrow Advisors, a management consultancy that focuses on rapidly evolving industries like ad tech, martech, commerce, and adjacent digitally influenced spaces.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm really excited about today's topic. We're going to do our 5 and 5. It's all about business and PR strategies for leaders who are looking to enter the US market. I know that's something that you and I were talking about. There's so much interest here, and it's something that you're doing all the time, right? Tell me more about some of the work that you do at Sparrow Advisors that relates to this.
Yeah, this is one of our practice areas. We help companies enter the U.S. market, foreign companies enter the U.S. market, and U.S. companies expand into other global markets as well. So we've seen a lot of best practices, but also a lot of bad practices here that I'd like to flag, because there's no reason why folks should be falling down the same holes that others have fallen into before.
So let's start off with our 5 and 5, the 5 tips that can ensure that everyone out there who's watching this is prepared to take the US market by storm and get ready for success.
So our tip number 1 is, before embarking on a US market entry, really look at your go-to-market strategy. A lot of companies are very tempted to kind of brush upon their collateral and fix their messaging a little bit and land here and are waiting for business to just open. And we think that the better approach is to also look at pricing, product, the way you're manifesting here in market, partnerships, and similar more strategic efforts that you need to take care of anyway, but ideally you would take care of them before you land on our shores here. And then you can proceed to step number 2.
Tip number 2, adapt internal and external messaging. So as you're starting to plan for a market entry, we start off with a lot of the factors that you're considering overall within the go-to-market plan. You need to take a step back and really evaluate and start to understand what the existing messaging looks, what's worked for you in the past, and how does it start to translate into the market that you're breaking through. Into the US market tends to be more crowded. There tends to be a lot more competition. So that means we need to sharpen our pencils and really put a finer point on some of the existing messaging that we have. So you need to adjust, adapt that based on the market, your competition, and your audience.
That is such a great point, Tiffany. So I'm going to follow up with tip number 3, just be smart about hiring. The US market is very different in terms of labor regulations than most other markets. And especially if you're coming in from the EU, you're going to be surprised by how few regulations there are here and how easy it is to hire and, let's face it, fire people who don't necessarily work out. There's a downside to this, and that usually means that we see a lot of hyper specialization in roles here in the US. So for somebody that you're planning in your native market would be 1 or 2 people, over here you're going to need a team that's at least 2 or 3x that size. And that can really look frightening in your spreadsheets as you're planning. So you have to have a really tailored and articulated, sophisticated approach to hiring and know which sequence of key hires you're going to execute to ensure that you have optimal success in market.
Such a great point. I hope everyone got that one, just really mapping out what your team looks like and how you're set up for success. That's going to be crucial in really how you break through and continue then not only to enter the market, but helping you scale.
That's right. And some of the things that are more normal here in market vis-a-vis salary and compensation and expectations around that are going to be very different than what you're used to, and hence may require you to consider capital planning or in general supporting the US market entity differently than you would considering expansion in your native market or markets. So our tip number 4 is understanding and growing your partner and channel ecosystem. Most companies that are ready for expansion into a foreign market have obviously experienced a certain level of success in their home market, which usually means that they have a really good network of either clients or partners that don't necessarily translate really well over here. For example, even if you're working with tier one brands in your home market, unless those same brands are present here in the US, highlighting a case study or a success story won't really have that same oomph effect when you present it in the US. One often overlooked strategy is to work through channel partners and business development. Most companies usually bring on their sales hire as their first hire here, and that is somebody who's focused on signing new logos, and then tend to deprioritize the business development angle here. So we're saying make sure that doesn't fall off the wagon, that you're actually prioritizing business development and channels from day one of your market entry.
Our last tip number 5, stay agile, stay flexible from your go-to-market approach to your PR plan to your marketing plan. Agility and flexibility are keys to continued success within the market. As we continue to work with more clients that are coming from the EU, from different areas and into the US, one of the things that we've seen really over the past 18 months is that focus on agility and looking at a lot of near-term planning in addition to long-term planning. So we're starting that initial plan. We're reviewing some of the impacts and results that we need to see within the first 90 days, but we're keeping a laser focus on how things are performing and looking at adjustments within the market. Now, that brings us really to how we're looking at our external messaging full circle and how we're starting to inform our PR and communications programs, because not only are we looking at our story as a company, as you, as if you're a founder, if you're the head of communications for someone who's running a business, you're not only looking at how your story and your messaging are relating to the US market overall, but a key thing is how that's translating within existing market conditions, how they're changing. And for us, looking at the current news environment to see what stories are bubbling up and how you then fit into that current news agenda. So that's not only something that you're thinking about up front as you're getting started, you need to do that on a regular basis, on an ongoing basis. Stay agile. That's going to set you up for success as you continue to scale and grow within the US market.
And so I'm going to throw in an extra tip for us today, and that's understanding who's going to pick up the bill for whatever services you're selling. And that there's another dimension of planning that comes into play that has to do with when your potential customers are, when and where they are in their budget cycle. So if somebody's on a calendar year, calendar budget year, and they do all of their budgeting in September, October, if you show up in November, you could be selling the hottest thing out there, but they simply won't have budget for you, and you'll have to kind of wait your turn until that budget opens up. So that is probably one of the most frequent challenges we see with companies coming into the market. They just don't have the awareness of how companies pay for their services here, because it may be very, very different than in their native markets. And so that would be my bonus tip for everyone is have that calendar handy and know where everybody is on the calendar.
Yes, thank you. I love that bonus tip. That's something that we hear, time and time again, just adjusting budget. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this 5 and 5. That was a lot of, secret sauce. But if you want more information, follow us on social at Kite Hill PR, read our blog, or you can reach out to us at hello@kitehillpr.com.